Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition of the Canes Blog Live, pre-recorded Canes Blog Live. We have two very special guests. I'll let them introduce themselves. Go ahead, boys. Big Groove, A Black, whoever wants to go first. Tell people who you guys are.
You already know it's Big Groove. You know what I'm saying? One half of the Storm Warning Show. You know what I'm saying? You know, coming from Atlanta. What's up, D Black?
What's going on, baby? This is A Black, other half of the Storm Warning Show, coming from the DMV area, the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. You know, about to talk some good Canes on this Cane Block show this evening.
Appreciate you for having us on, John. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys coming on. You know, anytime I see, you know, a relatively new up and coming Canes channel, now I'm like, you know, Flo reached out to me months ago and helped me grow. Now, you know, I want to help. I want to kind of give back. And you guys have an awesome show. If whoever's listening, if you haven't listened to Storm Warning, these guys are hilarious. They're entertaining. They got a lot of knowledge. Their knowledge goes way back in Canes history, and I'm a historian with Canes football, so I love it. But I got a few topics to go over with you guys. First off, the big news of Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. I know you guys talked about it at one point on your show, but for the people I haven't heard yet, what were your initial thoughts when you guys heard the news last week?
You want me to go first?
Whoever, yeah, Group, go first.
Go ahead.
First thing I thought about was, first thing that came to my mind is like, oh, okay, so this is the start of the super team era. And Miami needs to, my first thought was Miami and Florida State, we need to somehow find a way to get into the SEC. That was my first initial. That's the first thing I thought about, Miami and Florida State. So, because the simple fact that we have a lot of rivals, of course, we Florida State and Miami. You know, then Florida and Miami. We don't get to play them, but every 25 years it seems like now, and we can kind of rekindle that. We can rekindle that rivalry, and it's in the South. You know, and what better teams to get in is two of the prominent Florida teams. And of course, when Miami was independent back in the day, the SEC asked Miami to join, to be one of the initial members, in the SEC, so that's why it just made more sense to me for them to try to join the SEC if the ACC is not going to try to, band with some more teams. So that was my initial thought.
Yeah, mine was the rich get richer, I guess. If you're speaking what everybody feels about the SEC already, that it's the mecca of college football. So I was just like, the rich get richer. And then, I was figuring like, okay, what move is the ACC going to make to try to somewhat counteract that move by the SEC to make the ACC that more competitive? And if Miami, because, me and Drew spoke about it, if it would be a good move for Miami to make that bounce to the SEC. So, my initial joint was, all right, ACC, but you on the clock. What you gonna do? You are on the clock. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to be outshadowed, outdone, and you want to be looked at as a football conference as well, then you guys got to bring in some big time football programs into this conference. So, we're gonna see. Maybe at the end of the day, Miami does decide to roll. But, hopefully Florida State will roll as well, like Bruce said, so we can keep that rivalry game, because that's football, yo. Miami and Florida State is football. That's college football, Jack. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And they need to get back to playing that Labor Day Classic like it used to be back in the day. First game of the season on a Monday. Yeah, that's when it was. It was at like man, this is can't miss football.
Prime time, yep.
Prime time Monday. I want both of us to be ranked. I want Florida State to be great. I want them to be a great program. So when we beat them, it means that much more. Because back then when we was playing them, a lot of people got to understand they was ranked number like 5 or 6 at the minimum at those times.
Right.
So
but normally them back in the day, those games determine who was gonna gonna play for the national championship. Mm-hmm. So it's funny. It's funny how people forget how dominant these two programs were. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that happens when you don't win as much as you used to. But I'm speaking for a Miami fan. Ours is coming. Ours is coming back. I want Florida State to come back. I respect Florida State. I can't stand Florida. I hate the Gators. Oh, I hope they go down and stay down. I hate the Gators. Hate them.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into the Gators in a little bit and the rest of the SEC. But A Black, you told me earlier you're from South Florida originally, so you've been to some games in the Orange Bowl. I know Big Groove hasn't, but how great was it in the OB when Miami and Florida State was top 5 going head to head in the Orange Bowl?
I mean, yeah, when I moved down there, I'm not from South Florida. I'm from up north, the tri-state area. But when I moved to South Florida, I went to that Florida State Miami game in 2002. I was there, and that thing was you talking about being raucous and rowdy, yo. That's probably one of the greatest experiences I've had ever, except for the birth of my 2 sons. You know what I'm saying? It was incredible, yo. It was awesome. That Orange Bowl and while the section I was at is closed off, so it was super loud. Like, yeah, it was truly a home field advantage, man. It was awesome, man. It was awesome in the OB.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I grew up in it. Nothing like it. So, question: if there were some big name teams out there that the ACC should be calling, maybe merge and try to, SEC already has pretty much a super conference. Maybe try to make the ACC a bit of a super conference too. Which schools? We'll start with you, A Black. Which schools are you reaching out to?
It's already been word they reached out. They want to reach out to West Virginia, and it's funny because me and Groove talked about that, but then I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, yo, we've had some real good games with West Virginia in the past. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, West Virginia was always a tough team defensively. It was always that lunch pail type team. West Virginia, like I said, I would reach out to Maryland. I would still reach out to Maryland, just for the recruiting ground purposes, where you can get up here and get some of these players out of here. They said Oklahoma State. I don't really see that happening, just based off location, but it could. But West Virginia for sure would be one of them, definitely.
Yeah. What about you, Groove? What are you thinking?
Me personally, I would realistic. I have two answers to this. I have two. If I was the ACC commissioner or whatever you want to call it, the head guy in the ACC, I would be on the phone with the SEC trying to figure out a way that we can kind of combine all together and add. You still can add what you need to add. I would add Notre Dame, and I would add.
Oh yeah, forgot about.
I would add Notre Dame and add either. I would add Oklahoma State. I would add Oklahoma State because of the firepower they've been for offensively. They've been one of the top, and they've been in the top 10 of offenses for the past. I would say the past 12 years. They've been one of the most potent offenses. From the Blackmans and just all the receivers that they've had. That's who I would go with because you still can kind of get into the Texas area and the Oklahoma area, but I wouldn't mind West Virginia because of our previous history with them. So I would try to get one of those two teams along with Notre Dame to try to join the conference, the ACC, and then combine with the SEC to then the Pac-12 and the Big 16. There'll be a Big 16 then can have their own conference, and then we have like the NFC, AFC type deal where we have our different north, south, east, west, and at the end of the day, I don't think location and transportation is an issue now because it's not the 1980s, not the 1970s. You got more flight airlines, you got more planes, so I don't think that would be an issue. That's one answer. On a realistic answer, I would try to get Notre Dame, of course, and if I had my way, I would go Oklahoma State. I just think they're the more prominent team than West Virginia.
All right. Yeah.
Dude, a couple days ago, you was all on West Virginia.
I said I would take West Virginia over Maryland.
Oh, you was all on West Virginia.
No, my brother. I always.
But no, I would definitely take. I would take Maryland. I would take Notre Dame. I forgot all about Notre Dame. Forgot all about them. Definitely Maryland. I mean Notre Dame. Definitely Notre Dame. But I was looking at something today. where they was realigning and they had Oklahoma State in Pac-12 or something like that. I saw something like that, but who knows?
I just think Oklahoma State is the bigger team than West Virginia right now. That's just my deal. Because they have the better coach, in Mike Gundy, and I think that'll boost the conference up of their style of play.
Yeah, maybe. I think they about even, but I mean they gotta do something. They gotta do the ACC gonna have to do something to match what to try to stay afloat with what's going on in college football.
Because if not, we're gonna get left behind, and we're not gonna be able to afford either one or two losses to even be considered. Because now what the SEC did by adding those two top programs is they can guarantee. We're gonna say if we have 3 losses, but look who we lost to. You know what I'm saying? So now they have their argument. So now the 3-loss team can make the still stay in the the top 12 or be considered for the 12-team playoffs when that comes about here in the next year or two. So
then I guess Miami just need not to lose no games. We need to go undefeated.
I mean that's college football, man. That's rare. It's
we kind of already have to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, it's like we already know Miami's margin of error is very, very small. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We can have one loss, and Clemson can have one loss. They'll take the Clemson over us.
That's why I understand. That's why I didn't understand why they chose North Carolina over us. We had a better record. Yeah,
right. I mean, yeah, but me and you, we discussed this offline. John, me and Groove, we always talk. It's like, man, look, no matter what Miami does, and I'm pretty sure you know this. The media is always going to find a way to slight us somehow. Like they got us picked second in the Coastal. Like that's fine, that's cool.
But I got a question for you, John. How do you think? I know you've been following all the stuff that's going on with this new change because we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about them constantly leaving Miami out on one of the top teams in the ACC that can join the SEC? Because today I read something that I watched the LaFeinbaum show and somebody else or one of the guests was on there. And it was like the teams that I would go for out the SEC would be out the ACC would be Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson. And it's kind of like
Florida State.
Exactly.
Really pick Florida State over us.
Exactly. Like every show that you see, they always talk about Florida State. You haven't heard one word about Miami. And I was talking to one of my friends in another group, in like just a friends group, and just kind of like it's no bigger brand than the U.
At all.
On our brands, it's no bigger brand than the U. You know what I'm saying?
It's the most recognizable logo, hands down.
Texas is because they got they like the Cowboys in a sense. They got but as far as any other school, we're in the top 6 with brands. We're in the top 6 with just brands alone. Not saying that we've been winning, of course. Everybody goes down, everybody been in cycle. But I just can't wrap my mind around like how are you choosing North Carolina over Miami right now?
Yeah.
I like that's that's like you laugh at it and makes you go but you're right about the brand. Like our brand is recognized everywhere in the world, not just here in the United States, in the world. We can't say that for every college team. You know what I'm saying? Of course, everybody know Alabama only because they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But before Nick Saban got there, people wasn't checking for Alabama.
I'm from there, and you didn't see that many Alabama flags.
Right.
More Auburn fans at that point than Alabama.
Exactly. It's just that Miami brand is recognizable. That U is recognizable wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? But Florida State, hold on, like you're gonna take North Carolina just because they had 2 good seasons, 2 okay seasons? Like really? But
so what do you think, John? What's your take on it?
Well, first of all, I mean that's just always been the case with the Miami and the media. It's no surprise to me at all. But I was reading something that show on ACC Network, Packer and Durham, I think it's called, one of them was like, nah, Miami is the team to beat in the Coastal right now. And here's why. You listed more experience, experienced quarterbacks, special teams, coaching, all that stuff. And you look on paper, we should be that second team in the ACC right now. And I believe we are. I think North Carolina kicked our ass, yes, but it was a lot of us just not being lined up right. And, it was a disaster on our end. But I feel pretty confident in that game. And as far as my take on like the realignment of things, one of two ways: either beef up the ACC with like an Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, or maybe Penn State. That was one team that popped into my head. Because the rivalry we used to have with Penn State.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That's a good squad. Also,
and that rivalry started. Oh, go ahead.
It wouldn't hurt to try to get Ohio State. It wouldn't. I mean, of course they're the face of that, but we can offer them. You can leverage some type of money deal, just like they're doing in the SEC with Texas. Because when Texas, a lot of people don't understand this. People think Alabama, they're the hot. No, when Texas joins the SEC, they're going to be the richest program in the country. They have more money than Alabama.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They do.
Because the simple fact, if you think about this, if Texas was in the SEC when they offered Nick Saban all that money after Charlie Strong got fired, when they offered that ton of money, he would have took that money and went to Texas because he's still in the conference. That's just my personal opinion, because you still got the state of Texas. You got a broader recruiting ground than the state of Alabama. I'm from there. I love our athletes. We have great athletes, but the state is just too big. They have more athletes. They have more top tier athletes, and they have better quarterbacks. The best quarterbacks right now coming from Texas and Georgia. You know what I'm saying? The last 2 or 3 Texas Heisman winners been from where?
Texas, yeah.
So that tells you something, right? So that's just my.
But
I agree.
Yeah, that Penn State, that would be a good look. That would be a real good look. But I would doubt whatever we did, Ohio State would leave, because they like all the Big Ten.
Yeah,
they're the big. You think of Big Ten, you like Ohio State, then Michigan. But right now it'd be like you'll think Penn State, then Michigan. But I love that Penn State idea though.
So, question, John, with that, I like that Penn State. If we got Penn State, do they get Notre Dame? But I know Notre Dame is contracted to the ACC. So if Penn State was to leave, who you think they would try to replace it? Would they even let them go?
That's a good question. I mean, to me, Notre Dame's always been a Big Ten team because and those are the teams they've always played the most until they signed this weird deal that they face 4 or 5 ACC teams a year. Before they always played Big Ten teams. So,
yeah, they always play Michigan. They play Michigan State. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Penn State.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably who I would say. If they're going to make like a trade kind of thing, that's who I would say. But
that would be dope. I would love to play Penn State. When the last time we played Penn State?
Like 2001, 2002.
Wow.
When we opened up, remember they opened up with us at their stadium. When they did the they had the celebration for the young man who got hurt the previous year.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You know what I'm saying?
And then we whooped their butt that game.
Yeah, man, we beat the brakes off them dudes, yo.
Yeah, that would be. I ain't gonna lie. I would have loved to go to that game at Penn State. That game would be crazy.
Oh yeah,
Penn State, Miami. That was crazy.
And they'll probably do a whiteout for that game too.
True that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So my other scenario was, if not do that, then Miami just jumps ship and goes to the SEC, like you said. Now, my question to you guys: everyone always, like, all the haters usually, they say on social media, "Oh, Miami, if they join the SEC, they go 2-10, they go 3-9." I really don't think so, because the bottom half of the SEC is just as bad as the bottom half of the ACC. It's the same thing. The South Carolinas, the Vanderbilts, I think we'd whoop them.
Right.
what do you, Groove, we'll start with you. Like, how do you think this current team would fare against the current SEC schedule?
The current SEC schedule, honestly, I think it'll be 2 losses. We probably would get 2 losses, which is not bad because at the end of the day, you're playing great teams. And I think they will flip-flop every year. But and I think eventually we will become the top dogs of the program, of the SEC for 2 reasons. I would think, for one, is more money that we'll get in the program so we can be able to invest in the program with coaches and et cetera. Yep. 2, the recruits that will stay home and not go to the likes of Alabama and Georgia and schools like that because they don't have to leave the state, or they won't even have to go to Florida to play in the SEC. Because so that means our recruiting will get a lot better. Our brand speaks for itself. They're in a high bed as far as with top players in the city itself. Who don't want to stay in South Florida? Who don't want to stay in Miami? So I can stay in Miami and play in the toughest conference against the top players. It's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think it will be a lot of pushback for a lot of schools in the SEC for the Miami to come for that simple reason. But I think Miami, like this year, if we played that schedule, I think we would probably lose. I think we probably lose 2 games. At the most, I think 2 games because I think we're gonna be pretty good this year.
All right. Hey, like, what do you think? How will we do with an ACC schedule? This current SEC schedule, this current team.
Shit. Like I said earlier, I think we would fare very well with in the SEC schedule, like you guys just mentioned, and we mentioned earlier before we went live. The bottom half of the SEC is like the bottom half of the ACC. The Vanderbilts, the South Carolinas, and whoever else, we would dominate them. But the top echelon teams, those would be dog fights. Those would be reminiscent of Miami, Florida State games in the past. But
it also depends on what side of the conference we on too. So if we on the East, I think we may lose 1 game.
Right, but I'm just speaking just in general.
No, I got you. I got you. What you said, I was just thinking that just came off the top of my head. I was just
right.
But it just depends on what side of the conference we on, because we should have beat Florida when we played them that year. That was a bogus, and we didn't even have a top offense then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
actually, that year we mopped the floor with.
So now just right now with this current team. With this current team right now, this team that we have currently right now was playing an SEC schedule. I'll say maybe 1 loss, maybe 2.
Wow.
But maybe 1. That's it. That's it. I'm not impressed with nobody else other than just giving a little respect to the defending champs, but they're young across the board. And they're breaking in a bunch of new coaches, a brand new offense. We're bringing a brand new offense, a brand new quarterback that's never played no real meaningful snaps against live competition. So, yes, he may have been the best player in the country coming out of high school, but guess what? That's high school. He ain't played against grown men yet that's trying to go eat and get paid. So, and if we win, like if Miami win, we're going to get players. But like Groove said, piggybacking off what he said, that SEC money, that's some long money. You know what I'm saying? That's some long cream right there that will help to build the facilities and keep up with the trends that's going on in the SEC. So now you don't lose certain players to Florida or Georgia or Bama or whatever. They're like, well, damn, like he just said, we play them teams. They don't need me to go there to play big time ball. I can stay at Miami and play in the SEC. And get the same effect with being 10, 20 minutes from my house.
And that'll give that NIL, and that'll just boost that even more.
Exactly.
So that's just I totally agree with you, Black.
Hey, John, I got a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Speaking, because TJ brought it up. I mean, my man Groove brought it up, and it just popped in my head. I was reading something today where, Coach David Shaw from Stanford, right?
Mm-hmm.
The head coach of Stanford.
Yeah.
He was saying, how Bryce Jones his NIL deal, and it was like that's level of the playing field, and he was like, nah, he said, nah, that's the Alabama playing field. How you feel about that?
Listen, for a lot of reasons, a big one being Nick Saban, Alabama's at the level that they're at, and deservedly so. They've earned it.
Yep.
You know, does
I agree.
Yeah, they're in a league of their own because they've created that, and the rich get richer until Nick Saban decides to retire one day.
So what's your answer, man? I'm trying to get the best to hear what record you think we'll have with the current team. What you think?
You talking to me or anybody?
Yeah, you, John. My bad.
Repeat the question.
I said I'm itching to see what you think our record will be with this current team in the NCAA.
Oh, our record. It would be close to what you guys said. I don't know. It's just because the quality overall would be higher of the opponents that we face. I think that first year we'd probably go more like 9-3, which would still impress me. Just jumping into the SEC and we go 9-3 against that schedule. And part of the reason is LSU is still down right now. They're still trying to recover. They're still trying to rebuild. Florida, I think we'd whoop them if we played them this year, honestly. I don't like their quarterback situation. I think their front seven is not good at all. They got a great secondary, some good receivers. That's about it.
Yep.
Alabama, obviously, is Alabama. We're going to find out week 1. Auburn, I think, would be a dog. Georgia, I think, would be the other one that we'd probably lose. But I don't think it would be a blowout. Look what Cincinnati did to them in the bowl game.
Yeah. They seem like they're just missing something.
Closer than the expert state.
I just like Georgia. Georgia just seems like they're missing something. They're good, but they just missing something to get them over the top. Maybe it's the coach.
They're missing the right coach, bro.
You guys think they were in a better situation when Mark Richt was there?
I do, me personally. Because
if you think about it,
Mark Richt did more with less.
Right. And what's different between their records? Not too much has changed between when Rick was the coach and Kirby Smart. Georgia always recruited at a top 5, top 10 level with Rick and Smart. If you think about it, John, Kirby Smart his first couple years was his best years because he had a lot of those players that Mark Rick recruited.
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he's doing less with more because Rick has never had a top 2 team 4 years in a row. It was a stint where Georgia had the top 2 recruiting class like 3 or 4 years in a row. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And Rick never had that.
No, Rick was always consistent, top 10. He never had the number 1 quarterback either, not that I remember. He always had a solid guy like a David Green, an Aaron Murray, who he developed.
And
Matt Stafford.
I know Matt Rick wouldn't have played. I know Matt Rick wouldn't have played Justin Fromm, Jake Fromm over Justin Fields. I know that. I know he would have found a way to get Fields on the field instead of returning fake punts.
Maybe.
Right.
Because one thing about Rick, he don't mind putting a freshman out there at quarterback.
No, he doesn't.
Nah,
unless it's N'Kosi Perry. But that was a different situation.
Yeah.
But yeah. Last topic, guys. I don't want to hold you guys for too long. I know you're both busy, but Justin Metlock just announced his commitment to Miami just a few days ago. On Friday, I believe it was. The fans are kind of 50-50 on it. They're like, oh, we should be going for higher ranked guys. The guys who actually look at his tape are like myself, are like, nah, like he's an athletic dude. He's very solid, fundamentally sound, good tackler. I think it's not Wesley the same, but I think it's a good pickup. What did you guys think?
I can go first if y'all want.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was kind of on the fence at first, because I did the naive thing of just looking at his body type, not looking at the film, and I apologize to that young man for that. But once I looked at his film, you can tell he's a natural linebacker. He's not a person that played defensive end that they trying to convert. He's a guy that played to position, and he did it at a high level in Texas in a great program. And if you look at some of his older camp film, you'll be mistaken in thinking he's a defensive back the way he's covering. I looked at some of his film on 24/7 early today. He was covering guys and looking just like a defensive back. And that's what you need nowadays at the linebacker position, guys that can cover. I love Shaq and Pickney and Black Noah. I love them and think they were some of the top guys to come through the program, but they couldn't cover like this kid can cover out of high school. And I could just imagine him being able to change his body and, with Feely and how his skills are going to increase with being within the program. And another thing that I loved about his film, that he's an aggressive tackler. He's not one of those guys that's just trying to arm tackle and just sling you down. He putting helmet, shoulder, in shoulder pad. He's wrapping up and he's driving you to the ground. He's a violent tackler. And that's what I love about the film. And I think he's going to be one of those recruits that the fans are going to grow to love because he's going to catch him off guard. And I think he's going to come in and take some of these guys' spot that's not progressing like it should. So that's just my take on the kid. I love him. From actually when I watch this film, I think he's a good get. And also, you can't really go by the evaluation of last year because of COVID. I look to see his stock rise with this year coming up, barring any injury.
Okay. What do you think, A-Black? Still there?
He got that DMV reception.
Yeah, no, but it's funny that Groove said that about his covering skills, because that's the first thing that I noticed when I watched this film was his technique and how he looks like a DB. In this era where you may have to cover a slot, you got to cover the backs out the backfield, you got to be able to cover, and he's real loose in his hips, which is what you look for in a DB, corner safety. And for him to have that as a linebacker, to me, speaks volumes for his ability. He's a sure tackler, right? You have some linebackers that they come with that thump and that smash. He's a tackler. He's a sure tackler. When he tackle you, he's gonna have great form, great technique, and you're going down. So it's almost like, would you rather have the big hitter or the guy who's more technically sound in tackling? Me, I would like to have both. But if you're asking me, give me the cat that's fundamentally sound with his technique and tackling, where I know whenever he hit a guy, there's about a 90% chance that receiver or running back would not break the tackle because his technique is so good. So I like him, and once he get here and he get into that David Feely magic program that they got going on down there, he gonna get bigger, faster, stronger. I'm gonna call it that magic program because he's been doing magic with some of the athletes that have come through them doors, and we all know Jalen Phillips, and we could keep on naming that down the line. So yeah, I like him. He only played 3 games last year. He was hurt, so his sophomore tape is real good. His junior tape, he was hurt. He played 3 games, so I'm expecting a big year from that young man. And hopefully he could be an early enrollee and get here in January so he could get that, get into that weight and conditioning magic program we got going on and compete in spring ball.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know what they're feeding those boys, but it's working. Last thing real quick before I let you guys go. On the subject of recruiting, who do you guys think we're getting next?
I'm going to go first when this one grew.
Go ahead, big dog.
Horton. I'm gonna say Horton. I mean, that's the easy one. I'm gonna say Fegans. Just I don't know much. I'm not an insider. I don't know things, but I'm gonna go out there and say Fegans. I think somewhere down the line, I think we're gonna get the what's the brother name? Who help me out? He's from Canada. He played DN, played D line.
Haitian.
I think we get him.
Hastings. Yeah, I think
Hastings. Of course, Wesley Bassin. But what's next The next two, I think, is going to be Horton and Fegans. Let's just keep it. The next two, I think, it'll be Horton and Fegans.
That's the same with me. I think it's going to be those two, and I think we may have I think we may get a surprise commitment with this this pool party that's going down.
Yeah,
I don't know who it's going to be, but I don't know who it's going to be. I just going to get somebody out of the blue, maybe a kid that just committed from maybe let's get somebody
Hey, see, I see, good. Hey, when you connect it mentally, all this, it's just like, Alfonso Allen. Alfonso Allen is another name to look out for. That I think we may get him too. I forgot all about him, but yeah. So them three right there. Those are my top three.
I think we're gonna see it's gonna be a big weekend with Miami football. I think you probably see the full story on Sunday. By Sunday,
right,
it should all be unfolded. But I think by Sunday we should have at least two commitments.
Hey, check this out.
One may be silent, one may not be silent, but we're gonna have somebody. We're gonna have three guys that's in the fold.
Hey, look, if we get some big joints this weekend. I don't drink like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and go get me some Henny and take me a couple shots.
Get you some of this shit, man.
I may join you from here. Look, I'm already prepared.
What you got? What's your drink of choice, John?
I got a little bit of everything. I got the Terramana tequila, the one that The Rock pushes. It's actually pretty good.
It's good. I got to try it out.
It's not bad, and I got some wine and some beer back there. I got a little bit of everything. Not a big drinker though, just on special occasions. Gotcha. Anyways, guys, like I said, I didn't want to keep you on for too long, but just wanted to talk, chop it up a little bit with you guys. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to be on with me. Like I said, you guys are super entertaining. I love your channel. I'll put it in the description box when I drop the video. Please give them a subscribe, give them a like, all that stuff. Anything you guys want to say before you go?
Oh no, man. Just I'm happy to be a part of the U Network. YouTube network. Mm-hmm. Great guys, fun guys, man, and looking forward to getting you on the show. Our show during the season and before the season, man. We got to come up with some crazy things for the show. So I've got some stuff brewing, so we can kind of just try to make it interesting, man. And maybe we need to get you to. Maybe we need to get you to come up with your own Miami team, and and see and do it like a little tournament. See who.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
We'll have to do it. We need to do it without superstars. How about that?
Hold on. Little disclaimer, right? Hold on. When you say superstars, like
I'm talking about like The Rock and not The Rock. I'm talking about like Ed Reed.
Because I'm like everybody that played in Miami was a superstar. So you're talking about legends.
Yeah, I'm talking about legends. I'm talking about the brand names.
I got you. I got you.
Brand names.
So I got you.
Yeah. And maybe Flo could come up with his squad, and we can kind of figure out a way that the fans we can do a tournament and let the fans kind of decide on what team that they feel like is the best. You can get the had the Denzel Perrimans and he's a star, but he wasn't legendary. Guys like that, like the Allen Hearnses and stuff like that. Those good players that was at Miami, but then didn't turn into the mega stars like the Sean Taylors and stuff like that.
Right.
Hey, it's funny, like when we talk about that, and we always talk about tight ends, right? We talk about the legendary tight ends. It's funny because he just popped in my mind, and he was very good for us. You remember Dietrich Epps?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember Dietrich Epps? Huh?
Nobody talks about him.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah. So that's
got overshadowed. Yeah, he got overshadowed by Jimmy Graham late in that season.
Exactly.
So just a quick thought. So when I hit you with that DM will say, hey man, get your team together, get your team. No superstar. I have a list of the players we can't use.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah, we could do that, man. It's just let's have some fun, John. Like I appreciate you bringing us on the platform. Hey, we may say, put together your best 4x1 relay team out of Miami players. What will it be?
707. Do your own 707.
Right.
all skill play.
Yeah, just to have some fun. But we definitely want to get you on, during the season, before a game or after a game, so we can, chop it up about the game, what you saw, things of that nature. But shout out to the U Network. Appreciate them for, bringing us on.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
it's all love, man. These guys, yeah, man, this is all love.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, John.
Yeah, well, we're all a family at the end of the day. We all want to see the Canes dominate. At the end of the day, it's all that matters. But appreciate you guys coming on, as always. It's all about that U.
Always all about that U, baby.
Go
Yes,
Canes.
sir.